Hello everyone, how's it going? Welcome to Wild Rift patch 3.4b. We didn't get a patch 2 weeks ago, so this is the first patch we have seen for about a few weeks now. I think it's about 4 weeks since the last patch 3.4a. So we got a lot of things to go to. There are a lot of changes, so let's head straight into it. Cool. First thing is Vex, a new champion coming out, which can be coming out on the 27th of October. A very cool champion, very cool mid lane mage. That's more to do with, you know, engaging with their ultimate and also fearing and disengaging at the same time. So I think it will definitely shape up in the meta quite a lot, and it's a very cool champion that is going to be added into the game. So really looking forward to Vex and seeing what she does. Obviously make sure to keep an eye on the channel because I will be doing a guide when she gets released next week, which will be the 27th of October. We have the Supreme Cells promotion, which is where you can get Supreme Cells set and Z from a shot, and they'll be very available in boxes that you can purchase for wildcore. So basically loot boxes. But I think the cool thing is that you're guaranteed anyway to get at least, you know, 400 Poro coins or a random rare skin chest. So every single time you get a loot box, you're kind of guaranteed to get a skin most of the time, because 400 Poro coins is going to give you at least 2 Poro chests, which is going to be pretty nice, because then you'll be able to you know, potentially get Poro energy, and then that can turn into a free skin itself. So I think it's really good. You can see the probabilities here as well. So 50% of getting 400 Poro coins, so that's the highest percentage and the biggest guarantee. Random rare skin chest is at 36%, epic is 10%, a legendary is 2.5%, and then your Supreme Cells skin self-selection chest is 1.5%. But the good thing is that if you read below, for the first 10 boxes, the probability of drawing a Supreme Cells selection chest will increase with each box opened until it is drawn. If the chest has not been drawn by the 10th box, the probability to draw it will be 100%. So that means you're guaranteed to get the box at your 10th draw, which is quite nice. And then after that, at your 20th box, you're guaranteed to get a random legendary skin. And at your 30th box, you're guaranteed to get the second Supreme Cells, because obviously there's 2 skins, which is set and Z. So you want to be able to get both the selection chests. You can get both the skins. So I think it's quite nice that you're guaranteed to get it after 30 boxes. Hopefully I might get a little bit more lucky than that, but we'll have to wait and see. I'll definitely do a box opening or something like that for the new skins, and then I'll open all the skins as well and everything at the same time. So I think it will be a very cool little bit of content coming out. And then to earn the Supreme Cells Cannon, you can purchase a pass for wild cores, and after logging in for 7 days, you'll earn Supreme Cells Cannon and some other rewards. We mentioned at the start of the year we'd like to trying out various new ways for you to play through events and earn content. I mean, I'm always down for new things. You know, loot boxes are always the thing. It doesn't matter what game you play, so no surprise that they're eventually adding loot boxes. And then a cool little pass that you can get with wild cores to get Supreme Cells Cannon. It's a cool way, and it's a cool incentive to let people actually earn the skins instead of just buying them themselves. And obviously you can get some other cool rewards as well from both of these things, which I think is quite nice. We have the event, so Bewitching Vex's Bingo, which is on the release of Vex, which will be some like cool bingo thing, which we saw before. Train Your Minds, which is the Supreme Cells skin or Supreme Cells event, which is coming out on the 1st of November, which is when the Supreme Cells event is coming and all the skins are coming. Right, now we have the important things. Right, let's take a look at the champion changes. First up, we have Corki. Corki is getting a pretty big buff this patch. The base stats, the mana per level is going up, the health per level is going up, and also the armor per level is going up. So some really nice base stats for Corki that is going to be helping him out a lot. Not only that, you also have the first ability, which cooldown has been lowered by 1 second. So that's going to help you out a little bit during the laning phase, because you mainly use this for poke, and you also use this for farming minions at range. So this being lower on mana is quite nice, like low on cooldown, sorry, is quite nice, especially because the mana per level has been increased. I think Corki now, most of the time, you go for the Essence Reaver Solari Charge Blade IE build. So that will help you a lot with your mana, because you're not going to go for the mana immune build. And then your Gatling Gun, the attack damage ratio per 1 second has gone from 40% up to 60%, and a total attack damage ratio over the entire duration has gone from 160 up to 240%. So dealing a lot more AD damage now with your third ability, which is going to be very nice. And especially, like I mentioned, you know, when you go Essence Reaver, Infinity Edge, Storm Razor, you know, all these AD items with Corki, it's definitely going to help you out a lot. And then the cooldown's also been lowered by 2 seconds. So I think Corki is definitely going to come back into meta, because he has been falling off a little bit, especially because his package is still very strong at objectives. Yeah, and he's just still a super safe and really, really great scaling AD carry to play. Darius has fallen out the meta a little bit as of yet. Then the health per level is going up, so 125 to 136, and the cooldown, the second ability, is going down, so you can use this a lot more during the laning phase. Yeah, as I mentioned, yeah, Darius is not really in a great spot at the moment. He's kind of getting outclassed by a lot of other bruisers, so they're buffing up to make him maybe a little bit more beefy than what he was before. So really nice to see the health per level is going up, and also the cooldown is getting reduced. So a nice little buff to Darius. Gwen is getting another nerf, no surprises. I think that we saw that, you know, Gwen is still very, very powerful, but mainly jungle Gwen has been very, very powerful recently. So what they're doing, they're nerfing her passive again. It's already got nerfed before, but now it's being nerfed again. So now it's 4 plus 4% ability power to now 2 plus 3% ability power. So a big nerf to the passive, and also at the same time the third ability is also getting nerfed in the jungle and nerfed overall. So the cooldown percentage is going up, 35, 40, 45 and 50, but now the reduced cooldown when hitting when hitting a target has been changed to now hitting a non-monster target. So that means that you're not going to get your reduced cooldown if you auto attack a monster. So that means that when you're clearing through the jungle, you're not going to be able to use your third ability as often, and it's definitely going to hurt your jungle clear. But I think Gwen jungle will still be completely fine. Probably have to test it to see if it's good or not, but I still think she'll be completely fine. Jax, interesting that Jax is getting a buff. I thought that Jax was, you know, already in a pretty decent spot, but they're basically just making him a little bit tankier in the late game. Health per level is going from 105 to 112. So that means that, like, you get an extra, what, 80 health at level 15 or something like that. It's not a lot at all, but, you know, making him a little bit extra tankier in the late game is definitely very scary, because Jax in the late game is already very strong, you know, with Divine Sundra, Hullbreaker and all these items. Blade of Rune King as well, so definitely very scary. Kaiser, there's a lot of numbers here, but there's not really a lot to look at, to be honest. Basically, the attack damage and AP ratio per missile is both being increased, more for AP than AD, especially on the later numbers with the evolved and isolated targets. But AD ratio is quite nice. So per missile, it's going up by 5%. I can't remember exactly how many missiles there are. I feel like there's 3 or maybe 4. And then when it's isolated, when it's the evolved, then you get 6. I believe you get double, or 6 or 8. I can't remember exactly, but you're getting a nice little bit of extra damage with the missiles, which is really, really nice. Attack damage ratio on isolated targets and evolved, which is very, very cool. So I think Kaiser is in already a decent spot. Her laning phase, is very, very difficult, but once you get past the laning phase, I think that most of the time she will be completely fine. So definitely very interesting to see how she will go with that and how things will do with that. And then you have the evolved attack damage ratio on isolated targets, which means that, you know, when you're going to get the Stormrazor Infinity Edge, plus you get Mortal Reminder as well, you're going to be getting a lot of AD, so you're going to be doing a lot more damage with your first ability. So we have to test this out and see how it is. We'll definitely play Kaiser in the new patch. Misfortune being nerfed, this is probably because of the whole China situation of, like, she's the highest win rate AD carry at the moment, which still completely blows my mind. But all they're doing is basically nerfing the attack damage ratio on the ultimate, so it's going from 85% down to 75%, and the total attack damage ratio has gone from 1020 to now down to 900%. So making our ultimate a little bit less weak, but doesn't really mean too much. I still think Misfortune will still be in a fine spot. I haven't played her that much, but I still feel like she's like A tier. I don't think she's like S tier or S plus tier. I think she's like A plus tier at best. Because you know, especially against like bruisers and assassins, yes, her early game is very strong, but against bruisers and assassins, I think she's very, very difficult to play. Olaf is getting some adjustments, mainly nerfs. The base stats of base mana and base health regen have gone up, and also the undertow, the mana cost, has gone down. However, the Berserker Rage, so the passive, the attack speed per 1% health loss, has gone down to now 0.6 to 1%, which is based on levels. This is basically nerfing his early jungle clear, and nerfing his early laning phase, because he's not going to get crazy attack speed when he's going to be really, really low on health during the early game. So like I said, nerfs the jungle early game clear, and also nerfs early game Olaf in the lane. So a little bit of nerfs here and there, but I still think he'll be completely fine with how he is, because I still think he's very, very strong in the jungle. Pyke is getting buffed again. I think Pyke is just very difficult to play overall. The second ability is going down by 1 second every rank, and the third ability is going down by 2.5 seconds at every single rank. So yeah, that means that even more buffs for Pyke, even though I still don't think this will be enough. I think Pyke in general is just very difficult to play, especially when the meta at the moment is all engaged supports like Rakan, Nautilus, Alistar, Leona. Like, Pyke really struggle. Pyke just wants to find like isolated, squishy targets and try one-shot them, but there's not really a lot of that in the current meta, so I think it's quite difficult to play Pyke overall. Riven getting a buff, just another health per level buff, 105 to 115. That means that the overall health at level 15 is going up by 140. She gets used in competitive a little bit. She also gets used in some other places in solo queue, but I think that most of the time Riven is completely fine. I still think she'll be completely fine after the patch. Samira is getting nerfed, thank God, because this champion is really annoying to deal with, and also very difficult to play. That's why I don't really put her in S+ tier, but I do think that she's very, very difficult to play. The passive, the movement speed per grade is going down by 1%, which means that overall it's going down by 6%. Because there are 6 grades, which goes from D up until S. So you only get 15% movement speed now at the maximum grade. And then movement speed when you using your ultimate has been the reduction, movement speed reduction, I should say, has been increased from 30% to 40%. So now you're going to be very, very slow because this has been reduced in terms of movement speed, and also your ultimate has been increased in terms of movement speed reduction. So I think that both of these are definitely going to affect her quite a bit. Senna, first ability, the damage, the base damage is going up, and also the AD bonus damage is also going up. So it's quite a nice buff for Senna and her first ability, especially because in the late game you can actually do quite a lot of damage, and also it's very, very low cooldown. But also the base damage helps you out a lot in laning phase. So I think both of these are very, very good for Senna. I still think Senna was pretty decent. I mean, it was kind of falling out a little bit from competitive in some regions, but I still think she was very, very strong. And if you go like Senna Nasus in solo queue or Senna Galio or something like that, then she's insanely strong. We'll definitely have to give that a try and see what it's like. Shyvana, the burnout damage is getting increased. I'm quite surprised by this because I think Shyvana is still in a very, very strong spot. So this is going to increase her damage, increase her jungle clear, and just do quite a lot to help her out. So I'm very, very surprised by this. Very, very surprised. We'll have to see how this affects things with Shyvana in the jungle. But yeah, like I said, 5 damage doesn't really mean too much, but they're like reverting the previous nerf, because I'm not too sure why, but I think Shyvana's already strong. I don't think they need to do this, but they did it anyway. Another champion that they didn't really need to nerf was Varus, because Varus is just... And the weird thing about Varus is that Varus is very strong in competitive because it's a controlled, I guess you can say, environment, and 5 vs 5 is all about communication. It's all about utilities and using your ultimates at the right time. Varus is very hard to carry in solo queue because you don't have that same sort of communication, you know, when you're using your ultimate. You don't have that same sort of, you know, peeling or anything like that, or team fight potential. So that's why I think Varus just keeps getting buffed and buffed all over again. But it's the second ability. Again, the active damage on of missing health ratio has been increased from 6.5 to 13.5 to now 8 to 15, and then the max channel time ratio has also been increased, so making AP Varus more popular, which has definitely been rising up in popularity recently. So I think that's going to be very, very cool. I definitely have to try AP Varus because I think AP Varus actually might be pretty damn strong. Wukong is getting a nice little buff. It's kind of like an adjustment, but it's mainly a buff overall. And increased damage per stack is going up by 1%. So I believe there's 3 stacks on his passive, so it goes up by 3% overall if you can land all your passive stacks on crushing blows. And then Golden Staff, the heal is getting increased. The base heal is getting increased, which is really nice for laning phase. The attack damage ratio is also being increased. However, the bonus health is bonus health is also getting increased. However, they reduced it to 50% versus non-champions. So basically, Wukong is going to be even more broken during team fights now because the healing is going to be absolutely busted. But then during laning phase, he might not be as good because he can't heal that much from minions. But still, like, the bonus AD and bonus health both going up with Wukong. They're the 2 stats you'd have to build: Black Cleaver, Divine Sunderer, Steric's Gauge, Guardian Angel. You know, all these items are so good, and that's going to make his first ability even stronger. So I think Wukong is definitely going to be a very, very popular pick next patch. Yasuo got some buffs again. I thought the Yasuo was going to be pretty strong after Solari Charge Blade, Lethal Tempo buffs, but I still it still doesn't look like he's, you know, up to the strong level that Riot wants. So the attack damage per level is getting increased, and then that is also getting increased. The attack damage at level 15 going up by 13 attack damage. Yone getting some adjustments. Overall, it is a nerf though, so the health per level is getting increased from 105 to 112, and the base attack damage is getting decreased from 58 down to 54. So it means he's going to be tankier as the game goes on, and the late game and how the late game goes on, especially because I do think that Yone is very, very squishy in the late game. He can get one shot very, very quickly, so I quite like that they're buffing the health per level. But then base attack damage going down definitely nerfs him quite a lot in the early game, and I do think he was already very strong in the early game. So, you know, two really good changes to Yone, making him more tanky in the late game, making him a little less annoying in the early game. Then you have the Spirit Cleave. The maximum damage to monsters has gone from 150 to 360, now 100 to 380. I believe this is dependent on how many monsters you hit. I'm not really too sure. I guess this is what it is. It basically means that you're not going to deal that much damage to isolated monsters anymore, like blue buff and red buff, but you're going to deal more to the smaller camps. Not really too sure how that works. We'll have to see. But anyway, it's going down anyway, overall. Like going up, but then going down earlier on. And then face seal, the ultimate is going down in terms of damage at level 2 and level 3. So some nice changes to Yone overall. I think Yone is completely busted. He's a very, very strong champion at the moment. So him getting nerfed is quite nice. And then you have the Yuumi changes, which is basically the shield duration is gone from 5 seconds to infinite. Doesn't really mean too much. I think Yuumi is, you know, not really in a great spot already. So yeah, it doesn't really make that much difference. Liandry's Torment is getting a change. The ability power is going up, but the health is going down. And then the base maximum health damage is going from 1% down to 0.5%. Liandry's was pretty damn powerful. People thought that, especially myself, thought that it wouldn't be that strong if you don't have a lot of ability power, but it's shown that it's still very strong. You build it on Karma and Morgana are the two main champions. I still think it will be pretty good, especially because the ability power's going up. Yes, you won't be as tanky and you won't be able to deal as much health, maximum health damage. I think it's the big one as well, because the meta at the moment is so based upon bruisers and tanky champions, so this is always going to be a full benefit. So yeah, that's basically, I think Liandry's will still be good though. I think still think it'll be completely fine. 27th of October, Bewitching Misfortune, Bewitching Morgana, Bewitching Vex, and then you have the Supreme Cells, Kennen, Zed, and Set, which will be coming very, very soon. We've got some cool accessories. Some looks like a boxing helmet. Got some cool Halloween stuff. Some little icon borders, probably for the Supreme Cells event, which is kind of cool. And we have our free champion rotation. So that is everything for patch 3.4b. As I mentioned, quite a few changes and quite a lot of champions to play. I'm going to be streaming tomorrow on Thursday with all the new changes. I think the loot boxing is going to be cool on the 1st of December, so we'll have to see how the things go. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Hopefully you will enjoy the video. As always, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next wider video. Peace.